Imagine you're on your way home from a friend's house and you're at a bus stop and you see a homeless person with a mother with her 2 kids sleeping underneath the bus bench. She has no blankets, she's probably hungry, and they're all dirty. According to the LAHSA, Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, on January 25, 2011, quote, there are 51,340 homeless people in the Los Angeles County, and there are 23,539 homeless people in the city of Los Angeles alone. Every 2 years, the LAHSA gather 5,000 volunteers to go onto groups and count the homeless people in our community. U.S. students who live in LA might want to know what's happening in our very own backyards. Over the years, I have been involved in a church group where we go around LA and we feed the homeless people or we talk to them, and specifically we go to downtown LA and we help the people on Skid Row, and sometimes the homeless people even come back with us and they change their lives around. There are thousands of homeless people in need in our community that have nowhere to live, no clothing, no food to eat, or nothing to call their own, and something needs to be done. Today I would first like to talk to you guys about the problem of having homeless people. Second, I will talk to you guys about what causes these people to become homeless, and lastly, I will talk to you about what we can do to help. First, let's begin by discussing this huge problem of homeless people. Homelessness is a problem. According to Leslie Barker, a researcher from the National Alliance to End Homeless, December 1st, 2011, quote, hobo, tramp, vagrant, and transient are pejorative names for people who find themselves having to cope with various serious problems of being homeless. Another problem is that not only does homelessness impact a lot more people than you might expect, it causes a host of other problems for the homeless people at large. Another problem that homeless people have is that they can die because of homelessness. Because of their unhealthy living conditions that they have, there is a huge tuberculosis outbreak right now in downtown LA because of it. According to Jonathan Fielding, the director of the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, February 24, 2013, quote, this is the largest outbreak of the said disease in a decade. Homeless people are the easy targets since they tend to have poor hygiene and nutrition. Transmission among them is also common since they live in crowded areas. Tuberculosis is easily passed from one person to another through inhaling droplets from an infected person. It can be done through sneezing, coughing, or even laughing. And if it's left untreated, it can become deadly. Treatment of the disease requires to take six months up to a year, but since they're homeless, there's a lot of homeless people, there's not enough resources for them to all get treated, which causes them to die. Another problem is with the housing market the way it is. There are more homeless people on the streets, and that brings an increase in chaos and hate crimes against homeless people. People don't like them in our community and don't want to see them around. They want them dead or hidden. Nearly 1,200 acts of abuse and violence against homelessness victims were documented in a 12-year study by the National Coalition for the Homeless, covering the year 1999 through 2010. The acts included murder, beating, sexual assault, set on fire, shootings, and police brutality. On December 27th, a man allegedly poured rubbing alcohol on a homeless woman sleeping on a bus stop bench and then lit her on fire, leaving her with burns all over her body. The witness said that the man purchased the rubbing alcohol across the street from the bus stop in a Walgreens or CVS, and all he did was pour it all over the homeless woman and then throw meth on her and started running. Another incident happened on December 19th. A 55-year-old homeless man was also set on fire while still sleeping in a sleeping bag for no reason at all in the city of Norwalk. Now that I have talked to you about the problem of having homeless people, I will now begin to talk about what causes these people to become homeless. According to a research director from a documentary based on a film called Skid Row in 2007, quote, more than just a place, it's a way of life, a mindset, the last resort who have given up on society, and in many cases, themselves. There are many reasons why people become homeless. Some of them are loss of employment, long-term illness, they have given up on life, maybe got a divorce, or they don't have enough money for rent. Others include domestic violence, substance abuse, institutional discharge, and many other factors that make it difficult, if not impossible, for them to pay rent. According to researchers from the Mercer Alliance to End Homeless, October 8, 2009, quote, factors that contribute to homelessness include lack of affordable housing, lack of preventative service to keep people from losing their housing, and inadequate treatment programs for those suffering from substance abuse and mental illness. Homeless Census did a survey, and the number one answer why people become homeless provided by 38% respondents was alcohol or drug use, then unemployment, inability to pay rent or mortgage, illness or medical problems, argument with family or friends, mental illness, and lastly, family violence. Now that I have talked to you about the problem of having homeless people and what causes these people to become homeless, I will now talk to you about what we can do to help the homeless. The key to helping the homeless begins by reaching out our hands. Someone who was once homeless said, sometimes homeless people just need a boost up or a reason to get back up on their feet again, because without it, you'll never solve your homelessness. A family, a good friend, or mentor, or maybe even someone at church might give them the resources, not always financially, but at least lend a hand to help improve their situation. So basically, like, be their support system. Another way is to gather a group of friends and give them canned food or clothing that you guys might not want or need. It might not seem like much, but in a homeless person's eyes, you can be their motivation. There's also organizations like LAHSA who allow people to volunteer and help counting the homeless, and this helps because it makes the government more aware of how many homeless people are in our community, and they decide if they open more housing for the homeless. Now that I have talked to you about what we can do to help, I will now come to a conclusion. There are thousands of homeless people in need in our very own backyard. They have nowhere to live, no clothing, no food to eat, or nothing to call their own. I first talked to you guys about the problem of having homeless people. Secondly, I talked to you about what causes these people to become homeless. And lastly, I talked to you guys about what we can do to help them. So when you see a homeless person in need, don't be so quick to judge because you don't know what they've been through or why they got there. You don't necessarily have to give them money, but maybe a hot coffee on a cold day or a raspado on a hot one. Homeless people are still people and still have feelings and strive to live every day. So maybe even a nice gesture or a good morning would make or brighten their day.